Good afternoon, everyone. First of all, I want to be thankful to the University Authority and the respected Madam IQAC for offering this chance to talk on the topic. Today, the topic I am going to discuss is a course of ACC Course 2, and the title of the lecture is Sea Level Change and Ozone Layer Depletion. One of the very important global issues that are becoming nowadays highly important for a futuristic plan and to save our environment. What is sea level change? The first question comes to our mind. A sea level change refers to the variation in the average level of the Earth's oceanic water over time, and the change can be influenced by various factors, especially the polar ice caps, the glaciers, and important issue is thermal expansion of the seawater due to global warming. So, in one hand, due to the oceanic currents, tectonic movements, the sea level is always receiving uh, an oscillating character, and oversupply of water by melting ice caps can make the level of water to be increasing vertically, and this will definitely lead to erosion, flood, displacement of communities from their native places and localities. So these are the important social life activities that will be highly impacted by the sea level change. And the chances of inundation and transgression is a very vital, important issues not only for the local communities of rural areas but also for the metro cities. It is very important to be considered. Global average sea level has risen 8 to 9 inches, 21 to 24 centimeters since 1880, mostly connecting after the Industrial Revolution. In 2022, global average sea level set a new record high 101.2 millimeter above 1993 levels, and the rate of global sea level is highly accelerating, more than double from 0.06 inches per year throughout the most of the 20th century to 0.14 inches per year from 2006 to 2015. Out of this important databases, one thing is very important to note, that the rate of increment is always happening to be developing the level of the sea from its earlier position to the successive periods. This is a database gathered from the www.climate.gov, where we are seeing how changing in the sea level compared to 1993-2008 average, and this is really changing. The scale is in millimeter, and the x-axis it is showing the year marks, and after 1880 the scenario in 2020, how it has reached to a very high progressive change, a positive change, a high positive change in the sea level growth, and that has really discovered the chances to see that in future what is going to happen. This is the sea level change 1993 to that of 2022, the global sea level change scenario taken from the same source, and where we are seeing the change in sea level in the world, over the world, and for the important countries at a glance. Considering this fact, first we should reach to find out the causes. This is the most important. It's like the root of a plant. And the main is the cause. Climate change. One of the primary drivers of sea level change is climate change. The increase in global temperature leads to the Melting of ice caps, already said, glaciers contributing fresh water to the ocean. Now, melting of ice caps and glaciers, the melting of polar ice caps, such as those in the Antarctica and Greenland, and glaciers around the world, contribute significant amount of water reaching to the oceans. In view of this, human influence and human activities such as groundwater extraction, deforestation, construction of dams, reservoirs have indirectly impacted upon the cases of glaciation. Over the time, due to global warming and deforestation, the chances of melting has gone to be very, very high. Even the forest line in the upper parts of the mountainous belts, the forest line, the snow line, this is also changing at a very faster rate. And it is assuming by the scientists that after 2050, many of the metro cities, not only in the world, this may be in our country, are chanceful to be deluged. Glacial isostatic adjustment should also be considered here under discussion in regions that were once covered by massive ice sheets during the last ice age, such as parts of North America, Scandinavian countries. I will refer the names of Netherlands, then Finland, some of the Scandinavian countries, Norway. Okay, the land is still slowly rebouncing as the weight of the ice is removed. Similarly, changes in ocean circulation is also impacting regularly. Alteration in ocean circulation patterns can affect sea level regionally. Changes in the currents, such as the Gulf Stream, can redistribute water and influence sea level in different parts of the world. And the ocean current and their circulations are really very important in this regard. Melting of the Arctic sea ice is one of the very important causes given more emphasis by the scientists, not only in view of melting of the ice but also the floating of the sea ice. The floating of the sea ice directly contribute to sea level rise in the preceding time. Maybe the icebergs and the floating ices are frozen nowadays, but over the time temperature changes will cause into deglaciation of that, and directly loss of reflective sea ice leads to increased absorption of sunlight by the darker ocean water and further contributing to warming. Impacts of sea level change, coastal erosion, rising sea level contribute to increased erosion of the coastlines, increased flooding, higher sea levels raise the baseline for storm surges and high tides, increasing the frequency and severity of the coastal flooding events. Low-lying coastal areas become more prone to inundations. Loss of coastal habitat is a really big loss because the species, endangered species, the threatened species, rare species, and some of the very important species contributing their important role for the aquatic ecosystems can also be hampered. Wetlands and mangroves have the very direct impact. Salt marshes may be submerged under the clutches of the salty seawater, and that may be permanently unproductive even if they are exhumed after withdrawal of the floodwater. But everything is becoming to be a very chanceful. The supply of the melting water versus its withdrawal is completely situational over time, and the shoreline stabilization, habitat for biodiversity, and the biodiversity protection against the storm surges, the loss of life, and the reduced level of resilience of the coastal people or the coastal communities to fight against the sea level rises and submergences by seawater, salty water, can be a very high level of challenges in future. Saltwater intrusion. I have already said that the saltwater, if they start intruding into the coastal aquifers and freshwater systems, it will completely destroy even the chances of drinking water. Harnessing the amount of drinking water will be also losing. If the icebergs are all coming to be molten, the good sweet water will also be unavailable in future, and ecosystem loss. This is additional very badly effects will come. Displacement of communities. Already you can understand that if the life is in challenge under submergence, so living being low-lying coastal areas, the living being in the low-lying coastal areas, especially in the developing countries, rising sea level can force people to relocate to new locations, and the chances of rehabilitation, government will also be in challenge to relocate these destitute people, this victimized people, and how to give them with the new livelihoods can also find out some newer challenges in the social life. So it will not only hamper the physical setup of any geographical area, it will also impact upon the socio-economic and political challenges. Impact on economy and livelihoods. The sea level rise can have significant economic impact on coastal regions, affecting industries such as tourism, fisheries, agriculture, and real estate, and damage to infrastructure, loss of property, and increased insurance costs. That will be a very important one. So, ozone hole depletion. Ozone hole depletion is another important issue, and a gradual thinning of Earth's ozone layer in the upper atmosphere caused by the release of chemical compounds containing gaseous chlorine or bromine from industry and other human activities. The thinning is most pronounced in the polar regions, especially over Antarctica. And ozone depletion is a very important major environmental problem. Why I have clubbed these two topics together? Because in one hand, ozone layer depletion is becoming a very important cause of the ozone gas to penetrate inside the aquatic lives, and that also impacting the deglaciation, I mean the melting of the snow. If the ultraviolet radiation that reaches Earth's surface, which increases the rate of skin cancer, eye cataracts, genetic problems, immune system, these are the other issues. But it will definitely increase the chances of melting. The Montreal Protocol, we know that it ratified in the year of 1987, was the first of several comprehensive international agreements intended to halt the production and use of ozone depletion chemicals. So this is the scenario: lowest value of ozone measured by TOMS each year in the ozone hole. The source is given here, and this is the ozone hole in the North America. Strong long waves and weak long waves. We are seeing the two contrasting features in the year of 1984. We are seeing that in the northern part, concerning the Alaska, Greenland, and the very frigid areas of northern pole, we are seeing the situation. And in 1997, definitely we are also seeing the situation from how the strong long waves, the North America during 84, abnormally warm, reducing ozone depletion, and 97 abnormally cold, resulting in increased seasonal depletion. This is the ozone cycle. Oxygen molecules are photolyzed, yielding two oxygen atoms. Ozone and oxygen atom are continuously being interconverted as solar UV, and ozone is lost by a reaction of the oxygen atom, and these inter connections of the releasing of O3 and the important global warming are highly important. We see that if oxygen, where it is considered to be a very resourceful gas, on the other hand, O3 is considered to be one of the very important greenhouse gases that are causing the depletion of ozone layer. So causes of ozone layer depletion, I will go a bit fast. Chlorofluorocarbon, CFCs, and mostly aerosol propellants. We know that refrigerators and the production of these release the chlorofluorocarbon in the atmosphere, and these chlorine atoms can catalytically destroy the ozone molecules. So destruction of ozone molecules is a very fatal factor. Halogens are similar to CFCs but contain bromine atoms instead of chlorine, and they are commonly used in the fire extinguisher and fire fighting equipments like CFCs. Halogens can release bromine atoms in the stratosphere, contributing to ozone depletion. And releasing of bromine atoms due to halogens contributing to the puncturing the stratosphere is really very much fatal for the future civilization. Carbon tetrachloride is another chemical compound that can release chlorine atoms when it is broken down in the stratosphere. It was previously used as a solvent, as a refrigerant, and in the production of various chemicals. So, these three important issues are the very leading factors behind the puncturing of the ozone layer. Methyl chloroform and the nitrous oxide. We know that while not a halogen containing compound, nitrous oxide N2O can also contribute to ozone depletion. And at the same time, methyl chloroform is a solvent that are normally used in various industrial applications, including cleaning and degreasing. It can release chlorine atoms when it reacts with the UV radiations. So impacts of ozone layer depletion, increased UV radiation, ecosystem disruption, climate change, human health issues, the impact on the materials. UV radiation can degrade the materials such as the plastics, rubber, fabric, etc. And health impact, apart from direct effects on human health like skin cancer and cataracts, increased UV radiation can exacerbate respiratory conditions such as asthma and lead to other health issues like sunburn, premature aging of the skin, and immune suppressions, etc. etc. Obviously, the UV radiation, increased UV radiation, acts as Earth's natural sunscreen. So the ozone layer is actually acting as the Earth's natural sunscreen, and this increased UV radiation can definitely be harmful for this. And depletion of this layer leads to more UV radiation. Ecosystem disruptions as well we have talked about. So this was the discussion. Thank you for hearing me, and this is the discussion for this topic. Thank you, listeners.